Thank you. Kindly.
Make her look at it. So much easier to ignore when it's far away. And to actually walk out of it. To be that close.
It's right there. We could take a trip if you're that curious.
I'm gonna have to decline. At least until I learn more about it. I have to admit, I thought you'd be...
Human.
Yes.
Being upfront is better than knife fear.
It was a foolish thought. Should have known better than to say anything. It's what you do and how you do it that's important. Just one question then. How do you think you fit in with all this?
I just want to help stop the war. Try to put things back in order.
A worthy goal, one I'm happy to support. For me, I'll be satisfied so long as we find the bastards that killed the Divine. They owe us some answers. I've heard rumors of abandoned Warden camps all over these parts. If we have time, I'd like to take a look. See if there's anything we can salvage.
Let's talk about the Grey Wardens. You must know a lot about them.
The Wardens? I'm afraid we're less exciting than we seem.
The Blight's been over for 10 years. What do Wardens do when the world's not ending?
There is still Darkspawn. Just because we killed so many in Ferelden doesn't mean they're gone. And the world is not so peaceful that there's no use for good men with swords. Sometimes you have to figure out for yourself what the pledge to protect others really means. It's not always about just archdemons and blights.
Where were you during the Blight?
I was in Ferelden, on my own like always. Quietly killed my fair share of Darkspawn too.
You haven't had contact with other Wardens for a while. Why were you on your own?
That's what I've always done. Recruitment only requires one man. Besides, I've always been a loner. Works best for everyone that way.
So you have no idea where the rest of the Wardens are?
You find that odd? The fight is over. You don't need an organized force. And orders don't change much from day to day. For the last 1,000 years or so, it's been just find Darkspawn, kill them, repeat as necessary.
Let's continue this at another time.
As you wish. I'll be here if you need me. At your service.
I want to hear more about you.
Compared to yours, my life will seem dull indeed.
Your name, Blackwall, doesn't sound Orlesian. Marcher then. Ferelden.
I was from the Free Marchers originally. Markham. That was a long time ago. Another life.
I hear that many Wardens were once criminals.
You're right. When you join, your past is forgotten, so let's leave it that way.
What did you do before you became a Warden?
I was a soldier, a nobody trained to wield a sword and follow orders. I grew weary of fighting other men's wars.
So you became a Warden?
More or less. Becoming a Grey Warden was the first time I felt like I mattered. The life I led before seems hollow in comparison. Perhaps one day it will fade away.
Why did you join the Wardens?
Because they remember honor and sacrifice. Words that have little meaning to the rest of us. Because they lay down their lives for those they have sworn to protect. We all need to believe there are such men in the world. I needed to believe I could be one of them.
We can continue this discussion at another time.
Very well. Yes?
What do you think of the Inquisition?
I expected more. More men, better equipment. You may have Andraste's favor, but wars are won by men, soldiers.
Brute force is not always the answer. There are plenty of other paths to victory.
True enough. Still, it never hurts to be prepared. One thing I will say about your men. They're passionate, devoted. You inspire them. Build on that foundation, and you will have an army that makes nations tremble.
What do you think about all this trouble between the Mages and Templars?
Looking at it from where we stand, it seems inevitable. But that could be hindsight. How many of us actually saw it coming? Either way, I don't think the Chantry will ever recover.
What do you think of the Inquisition's cause?
Restoring order is a goal I support wholeheartedly. But that's not the end of it, is it? Not by a half. The Lady Seeker believes we are restoring the Chantry. Others say it needs reform. I don't know where you stand on the matter, and I'll admit I haven't made up my mind either.
What do you think of Haven?
It's a war camp that was once a pilgrim's refuge. It's the state of the world, though, isn't it? Holy ground turned into a battlefield. Pity about that temple. Would have been nice to see it.
What do you think of my advisors?
Cullen. He's got the look of a man who's been through too much. He's seen the best and the worst of humanity, and I think he still struggles with where that leaves him. Still, I trust him to watch my back.
What do you think of my advisors?
Cullen. He's got the look of... He's seen the... Still, I trust him to watch my back.
You must have some feelings about our friends.
Last time we dined, Sarah put away 12 potatoes, an entire roast duck, and 4 different tarts. I'm not sure where any of it goes.
We should return to our duties.
As you wish. You are, after all, in charge.
Good day to you.
Feels good to be back at work, Inquisition. And lucky you have me. In lesser hands, you'd be in trouble. Haven can't support the mounts you need, but I can.
How are your charges? Well supplied?
Haven is groaning under the weight. It wasn't built for this, but we'll make it serve.
Farewell.
Maker be with you.
They've got good form. Cullen's putting his Templar training to good use.
Did Cullen tell you he was a Templar? He's not wearing the armor.
He didn't have to. Might not be a Templar shield, but it's a Templar holding it. He angles the shield just a bit down. Helps direct fire or acid away, so it doesn't spray right into your face. Kaloi learned the same thing when we trained to fight Tevinter mages. Your Templar's doing good work.
You sound like you want to head down there and give the troops some pointers.
Nah, I'm no good at command unless I know who my guys are sleeping with and what they like to drink. Inquisition's already too large for that. The charges are big enough for me. Biggest problem for the Inquisition right now isn't on the front line. It's at the top. You've got no leader, no Inquisitor.
Cassandra's been the driving force of this Inquisition. She's the leader in all but name.
Cassandra's a seeker. From what I gather, that's a bit like a Ben Hasrath. She's a good hunter and a great fighter, but she doesn't see the big picture. Too busy searching for answers. My people don't pick leaders from the strongest, or the smartest, or even the most talented. We pick the ones willing to make the hard decisions, and live with the consequences. Who knows? Maybe you sealed the breach. The Chantry gets off its ass and all those soldiers go home and get fat.
You think?
It could happen. It won't, but it could. Can I help you?
I'd like to know more about your work with the Ben Hasrath.
Ben Hasrath is actually a general term. You've got the secret police who investigate problems inside our territory. You've got the re-educators who take people with problems and fix their minds. Or make them disappear. And then you've got the spies.
How do the re-educators work?
I only know the basics. Wasn't my area. That said, Keep a man awake long enough. Ask the right questions, give the right potions, and you can get him to say anything. You don't need blood magic or demons to change someone's mind. We're a lot more fragile than we'd like to believe.
You can alter someone's beliefs that easily.
One of my friends was a re-educator. He said that every memory is like the page of a book. When you examine a memory, you're turning to that page, and when you're there, the page is laid bare. Write a few notes in the margins of the page, erase a word here and there, and your whole outlook changes. Always felt a little weird reading after that conversation.
The re-educators sound horrible.
Yeah, they probably do. Here's the thing, though. What happens in Orlais when you commit a crime or betray a lord? They just lop your head off. At least the Qunari try to fix you.
None of those sound exactly like you.
Yeah, I was a special case. They sent me to Saharan because they needed someone who could fight and hunt down problems. That whole island was a sack of cats. Incursions from Tevinter, Tal Vashath, and native rebels fighting both sides. And in the middle, me, trying to wrangle the rebels and restore order.
How'd that work out for you?
About as well as you'd expect. I hunted down a lot of rebels. Lost a lot of friends to the Vince, or the Fog Warriors, or the Tal Vashath. One day I woke up and couldn't think of a damned reason to keep doing my job. Turned myself into the re-educators.
You'd heard what the re-educators did to their prisoners.
Yes, I had. I wanted them to fix me like they fixed them. The Ben Hasrath ordered me to go to Orlais, ostensibly as a Tal Vashath, and work undercover. That's how I ended up here.
It sounds like you had a rough life under the Qun.
What, 3 meals a day and free sex whenever I need it? I came out here for the challenge, boss. Figured I'd rough it with you savages. Anyway, nice talking with you. Can I help you?
I'd like to know more about the Qunari.
You writing a book?
What I've heard about them sounds fascinating.
What you've heard was mostly horse shit. All right, what do you want to know?
What's it like growing up under the Qun?
The Tamasrans raise us in these units of kids all our own age. They're like teachers or chantry sisters. They also help figure out what jobs we should do. They had me pegged for military work early on. When they learned I could hit stuff and lie, they started training me for the Ben Hasra.
You never knew your parents?
No. I know for you folks, that's a big deal. The Tamasrans were like our parents, though. Taught us to read, helped us go to sleep, all the parent stuff. I remember the one who helped me build things with blocks. She laughed when I knocked everything down.
Do you ever think about what would happen if the Qunari conquered Orlais or Ferelden?
Some folks, like Cassandra or Cullen, would do fine if they didn't die fighting. Those two love rules. But the mages... Can you imagine Solus trying his fade dreaming under the Qun? Or Vivian doing her political bullshit? Both Sarah and Varric would mouth off until they ended up re-educated, drugged until their minds broke. So, to answer your question, no, I don't think about it much at all.
How do the Qunari rule themselves?
It's pretty simple. We've got the matriarchy, the priesthood, and the military. The priesthood figures out how Qunari should live in theory. The matriarchy makes it work in practice. And the military keeps the Qunari safe from outside threats.
Does it actually work like that? Is there much infighting?
Not like you're thinking of. People disagree, yeah, but the priests are there to solve disagreements. Here in Orlais, politicking comes from people putting their own gain ahead of the gains of society. If you do that among the Qunari, the Ben Hasrath set you straight, or kill you.
I've heard there's no marriage among the Qunari.
Yeah, that's true. Qunari love our friends like anyone does, but we don't have sex with them.
Qunari don't have sex.
Oh, we definitely have sex. They're Tamasras who pop your cork whenever you need it.
Seriously?
Yes. It's not a big deal like it is here. It's like, I don't know, going to see a healer. Sometimes it's this long, involved thing. It takes all day, leaves you walking funny. Other times you're in and out in 5 minutes. Thank you. See you next week.
That sounds different.
Yep. Still, it's more fun here. Fewer rituals, more making it up as you go along. Plus, you folk have redheads. Redheads.
How is everyday life different for Qunari?
Depends on your job, I guess. Some are just about the same. A baker in Val Royeaux gets up, gets dressed, and starts work. A baker in Parvolan does the same thing. They don't care about the Empire or the Qun. Mostly they worry about breaking eggs and hope the dough rises right.
It can't be exactly the same. The Qunari have no personal freedoms.
How many personal freedoms do you figure that baker in Val Royeaux has? Life isn't about freedom. The baker in Parvolan wonders if she'll be given enough eggs to do her work. Will they come on time? Will the kitchen workers get her bread while it's fresh, or will they come late and blame her 'cause it's stale? Same crap in Val Royeaux. People are just people.
The word Qunari, is that the race or the religion?
Both. Kind of. The humans and elves who follow the Qun are the Vidathari. The Qunari who break away from the Qun are Talvasha, deserters.
What about Qunari who existed before the Qun?
The people we came from. They're called the Kossith, but we don't use that word for the race. We came south to Thedas because the Kossith were... I don't know. We had to leave. The stories aren't clear. But I don't expect they look much like us. Whatever they are.
See you later, Bull.
See ya.
Can I help you with anything?
Iron Bull said the chargers were at my disposal. Do you have any suggestions on how to use them?
Nothing jumps out at me. If I come up with any ideas, I'll let you know.
Can we talk about the Bull's chargers?
Best company you'll find from here to the Anderfells. In my time with the Chief, we've gone up against everything from bandits to magic trees. We're expensive, but you'll never doubt we're worth it. Want to know anything in particular?
Do the chargers specialize in anything from a tactical standpoint?
Bull doesn't want us large enough to work as an army. We're better as shock troops, as skirmishers. We've got archers for hitting enemy infantry, Dalish with more archery, and Skinner and her people on the flanks. Rocky handles fortifications and traps, and Stitches keeps us all fighting. They mostly hold back. I'll lead the frontline fighters with Grim, and the Chief goes wherever he can hit something.
Are there rules for how mercenaries operate?
If you don't want some noble to treat you like bandits, yes. There's also a code of conduct most companies hold to. Keeps things civilized on the battlefield. We accept surrenders for ransom from mercenaries, nobles, and soldiers wearing a lord's colors. Our prisoners are treated well, injuries tended. We'd want the same for any of ours who got captured.
You said something about everything from bandits to magic trees. I'll admit to some curiosity.
Right. Sylvans. That's what Dalish called them. Apparently spirits can possess trees, too. Some noble in the Dales, and they really don't like it when you call them Dalish nobles, had a haunted forest. His family had abandoned the land, but he wanted it back. The Chief bought us all axes, and in we went. Between the axes and the torches, the Sylvans weren't too bad. The worst part was the squirrels.
We'll talk later.
Can I help you with anything?
I'd like to know more about the Iron Bull.
The Chief. Last time I met him, he saved my life. I never thought I'd work for Qunari, but he grows on you. He's not like any commander I've ever worked for. That's for damn sure.
How did a Tevinter soldier wind up in a Kunari spy's mercenary company?
I wasn't a soldier at the time. I was in some trouble, trying to flee Tevinter. A Tribune and his men caught me in a border town tavern. They meant to make an example of me. Bull killed them. Gave up his eye doing it. Patched me up and asked if I was looking for work. I've been putting up with his jokes ever since.
Is it strange to work for a Kunari?
He hasn't tried to convert us to the Qun, if that's what you're asking. The Bull's chargers don't care who you light a candle for, so long as your shield stays up. If he hadn't told me he was Ben Hasrath, I'd have thought he'd left that life behind.
I didn't expect he'd tell you all that he was a spy.
Not the whole band, but those who've been around long enough to trust. He figures most of us would find out sooner or later, and it should come from him. Eyes to eye, he says. It's never messed up a job. He just writes letters back home. Lots of the boys write letters back home.
How's Iron Bull as a commander?
If you know what you're doing and hold up your end, he's easy. He doesn't accept any less. If he keeps us alive, he leads from the front, and if you've an idea that'll win the fight, he listens. I've seen bands whose captains had to prove they were swinging the biggest sword. Bull isn't like that. The charges might give him more lip than you'd expect, but every one of us would lay down our lives for the big ass.
We'll talk later.
What can I do for you?
So, how did you get the name Iron Bull?
I picked it. We don't have names under the Q. Just, I don't know. Job descriptions, I guess. When I came to Orlais, I chose the Iron Bull for myself.
But why specifically Iron Bull?
This may surprise you, but I really like hitting things. Also, it's the Iron Bull, technically. I like having an article at the front. It makes it sound like I'm not even a person, just a mindless weapon. An implement of destruction. That really works for me.
See you later, Bull.
See ya.
Sarah, I'm sorry.
Who's what now?
My family is nobility. I've been in Seeker training since I was 6. I walked with the Divine. I've never considered what I must look like to someone common. I must indeed seem terrifying.
Nah, you're alright. Skip the someone common bit, though. Makes you seem a bit of a shit. Cassandra, have you ever punched a bear?
What? No. Why would I?
Well, what's it for, then? The training, I mean. You stand harder than Cullen's soldiers. Must be for something.
I am a Seeker in service of the Divine. I am a warrior of truth.
Alright, alright. Just seems like you could punch a bear if you wanted.
You see? The Inquisition found more food. Eat up.
After you, Nana.
Such a mouthy child.
You haven't used up all your guesses.
I'm conceding. I wasn't very interested to begin with.
Well, then, just cross your legs and guess?
Conceding. I'm giving up.
Some seeker you are. So you spend a lot of time around dead people? Corpses?
As Navarans, we pay respect to the departed in family crypts.
Pay respect? Like pose them and dress them up and such?
Not in the way you're picturing.
It sounds like a big dead dollhouse. Dollhouses are creepy enough.
Well, now you know.
What's the old Inquisition motto again?
I'm not saying it again, Sarah.
Come on.
Into darkness, unafraid.
Around the corner, chocolate's made.
Maker preserve us.
You just hate chocolate.
Redcliffe Village should be...
I want a constant watch on that damned thing. Sound the alarm at the first sign of demons.
Was that?
We don't know what these rifts can do. That one appeared to alter the time around it.
There are many mages in Redcliffe. Maybe Fiona will know what's...
Make her have mercy. It's over. Open the gates.
Ardathanas Elgara Masula Eva Vanan. Excuse me?
Excuse yourself. Whatever you said and what I did, same difference to me.
I'd hoped, well, our people can sometimes feel the rhythm of the language, despite lacking the vocabulary.
Uh-huh. Know what else is good? Words that mean things. Like these. Words.
Then heed is Lhasa.
We spread word the Inquisition was coming. But you should know that no one here was expecting us.
No one? Not even Grand Enchanter Fiona?
If she was, she hasn't told anyone. We've arranged use of the tavern for the negotiations.
Agents of the Inquisition, my apologies. Magister Alexius is in charge now, but hasn't yet arrived. He's expected shortly. You can speak with the former Grand Enchanter in the meantime.
The veil is weaker here than in Haven. And not merely weak, but altered in a way I have not seen.
We should talk to the Grand Enchanter.
What color is the sky, Sarah?
Hang on.
It is an earnest question. What color is the sky when you look at it?
You know, blue mostly. Except for the breachy bits.
And when you looked past the breach? As perhaps you were drawn to do.
Greenish? And clear a long ways and kind of felt like falling. Ugh, makes my head hurt. You make my head hurt.
We are not so far apart, you and I.
We will be.
Too many people dying for want of simple herbs. My apologies. Can I help you?
Are you running short of healing herbs?
Yes. We've many injured from attacks by those cursed Templars. I need the herbs to treat people's wounds. It's too dangerous to go hunting through the hills to gather more. I've a list there of the herbs I need.
There are refugees at the crossroads who would benefit from a healer.
Of course they would. These attacks by the Templars have endangered countless innocent lives. But if I go to the crossroads to help, I might end up in danger myself. I doubt those refugees would risk their lives for a knife here. Why should I risk mine for them?
Have people called you a knife ear?
You're truly Dalish, aren't you? Then you don't know humans like I do. Perhaps they fear the Inquisition and have shown you respect. I have no such protection. These villagers only tolerate me because Templars killed their human healer. I doubt the humans at the crossroads would be any different.
People are afraid right now. I haven't been called knife ear as often as I'd expected. Mostly, all the humans say is thank you. I expect you'll find the same, and change some minds in the process.
All right. If the Inquisition soldiers are there, I might be safer regardless. I'll see you at the crossroads soon. Just give me a moment to gather my things.
Weird.
Sarah, what are you feeling?
Oh, here we go. It's nothing. It just feels like I've seen this. Exactly this. It happens.
Not to everyone.
It's not an elf thing. Inquisitor's not shaking. I suppose now you'll switch to how I'm the same but different.
You are different. You are the furthest from what you were meant to be.
Well, I've definitely heard piss like this before.
Just rumors.
Make her watch over you.
Are you a Chantry sister?
A lay sister only. I work here to help the poor and extend the Maker's kindness to those who need it. It is very busy work, especially in these times, but let me know if I can ever help you.
I found the letter you sent a Templar named Corin.
What? Shit. You can't prove anything. A letter from a rogue Templar. Nobody is going to care. So, what do you intend to do?
What kind of cut are you getting from the gross? What kind of protection are your suppliers offering? The Inquisition could use someone who could move goods around quietly. And we could protect you.
Are you serious? The high and mighty Inquisition needs smugglers. All right, I'm in. Seems like the Inquisition is the safer bet these days.
It is a shame, Sarah, that you were denied an elven life. Even one as patchwork as the Dalish interpretation.
Who said I was?
Were you not orphaned young and raised by humans?
Oh, you think the only reason I'm not elfy is because I had no choice? Poor me, right? Well, I've seen, I know, elven life is backwards and boring.
It is said that we lived at a pace that sustained us for ages.
Well, you go sustain yourself. It sure doesn't sound like living.
Please, are you with the Inquisition? As you've wandered, have you by any chance seen a ram that is, different? Lord Wolseley wandered off, and he's very special. If you could find him, I'd be most grateful.
What makes your ram so special?
Well, he's always brought the family luck, and his advice helped us make our fortune.
Your ram offered advice?
He's a very special ram.
Your ram has gone missing?
Yes. I'm certain that if he heard his Jimmy missed him, he'd come right back. He's likely at our family's old summer cabin. It's by the lake in the southern hills. If you do find him and send him back, I'd be happy to pay you.
I'll speak with you later.
If you find my ram, please send him home.
Welcome, agents of the Inquisition. What has brought you to Redcliffe?
We're here because of your invitation back in Val Royeaux.
You must be mistaken. I haven't been to Val Royeaux since before the Conclave.
Well, that's very strange, because someone who looked exactly like you spoke to me in Val Royeaux.
Exactly like me? I suppose it could be magic at work, but why would anyone... Whoever or whatever brought you here? The situation has changed. The Free Mages have already pledged themselves to the service of the Tevinter Imperium.
An alliance with Tevinter? Do you not fear all of Thedas turning against you?
I understand that you are afraid, but you deserve better than slavery to Tevinter.
As one indentured to a Magister, I no longer have the authority to negotiate with you.
The Divine's corpse is barely cold, and you've already joined the Imperium.
Most of Thedas blames us for the Divine's death. The Templar attacks grew worse, and we mages had no allies. Either my people made a last stand here in Redcliffe, or we took the only offer of help extended to us. I had to save them. I had no other choice.
Welcome, my friends. I apologize for not greeting you earlier.
Agents of the Inquisition, allow me to introduce Magister Girion Alexius.
The Southern Mages are under my command. And you are the survivor, yes? The one from the Fade? Interesting.
I haven't seen any sign of Redcliffe's Arl or his men.
The Arl of Redcliffe left the village.
Al Tegan did not abandon his lands during the Blight, even when they were under siege.
There were tensions growing. I did not want an incident.
I'd like to know more about this alliance between the rebel mages and the Imperium.
Certainly. What specifically do you wish to know?
The Grand Enchanter told me she was indentured to a Magister.
Our Southern brethren have no legal status in the Imperium. As they were not born citizens of Tevinter, they must work for a period of 10 years before gaining full rights. As their protector, I shall oversee their work for the Imperium.
I'm not clear on when exactly you negotiated this arrangement with Fiona.
When the Conclave was destroyed, these poor souls faced the brutality of the Templars, who rushed to attack them. It could only be through divine providence that I arrived when I did.
It was certainly very timely.
What does the Imperium gain from taking rebel mages under its wing?
For the moment, the Southern Mages are a considerable expense. After they are properly trained, they will join our Legion.
You said not all my people would be military. There are children, those not suited.
And one day I'm sure they will all be productive citizens of the Imperium when their debts are paid.
You're quite a long way from Tevinter, Alexius.
Indeed I am, though I have heard you are no Ferelden either. It seems we are both strangers here. Felix, would you send for a scribe, please? Pardon my manners. My son Felix, friends. I am not surprised you're here. Containing the breach is not a feat that many could even attempt. There is no telling how many mages would be needed for such an endeavor. Ambitious, indeed.
Well, when you're fighting a massive tear in the sky, you can hardly afford to think small.
There will have to be. Felix.
I'm so sorry. Please forgive my clumsiness, my lady.
Are you all right?
I'm fine, Father.
Come, I'll get your powders. Please excuse me, friends. We will have to continue this another time. Fiona, I require your assistance back at the castle.
I don't mean to trouble everyone.
I shall send word to the Inquisition. We will conclude this business at a later date.
Come to the Chantry. You are in danger.
Wow, aren't we secrety?
There's no telling who or what will be waiting for us in that Chantry.
Come on, let's do something.
We don't need your cult. Your Inquisition's just Templars by another name.
You'd rather bow to Tevinter than join the Inquisition.
All you Chantry types think the same way. The Imperium is a great evil that must be avoided. It's just because they're ruled by mages. No one wants us to look at them and say their mages are free and the world hasn't ended.
But Don't Magisters summon demons and practice human sacrifice?
The Chantry says whatever they think will scare us. What's wrong with blood magic? People don't like the idea of us controlling their thoughts, but they have no problem with us throwing fireballs in their walls. In Tevinter, the mages police themselves. It works.
Who are you?
Linnea. Just Linnea. Don't ask what Circle Tower I'm from, because we're done with that. We're all free mages now.
Why does everyone think we're part of the Chantry? We left the Chantry. They hate us.
Right. And I'm the Empress of Orlais. Go back to your Templars. We don't need you.
Yes.
Inquisition. I wish to holy Andraste you'd gotten here sooner. These two Vincers make my shoulder blades itch.
You're not happy with this new alliance?
Something's not right about that lot. They're not like us. Magic or no. I'd rather count myself among decent folk than stand with Magisters.
How did the Grand Enchanter end up working with Tevinter?
1 minute, we were bracing for the Templars to attack. The next, we had a Magister ally. It was a stroke of luck that's given us an edge. In a way. Out of the frying pan.
Who are you?
Name's Tolwyn. Formerly of the Circle of Magi in Hospital. Lived my whole life there. Since I was 10 years old and came into my magic. 3 meals a day. Quality education. A roof over my head. If you're not summoning demons, a mage tower's a fine place to be.
If you were happy in the Circle, why are you here with the rebels?
We're all rebels now. The vote sorted that. The majority wanted to dissolve the circles. The rest of us went with them or were cut loose. I figured I'm better off with my fellow mages than on my own.
Goodbye.
Be careful. The Tevinters likely aren't happy you're asking questions.
Magister Alexius does not approve of those without magic like you and me. You may not wish to stay long. Many villagers have already left to escape his ire.
This village has a history with mages, doesn't it? Do you know the details?
During the last blight, the Arl of Redcliffe became ill. Not even the efforts of the Circle could save him. His young son, who was an undiscovered mage, made a deal with a demon to keep the Arl from death. The boy became an abomination. Through him, each night, the demon raised armies of corpses to assault the village. The hero of Ferelden defeated the demon and stopped the undead hordes from destroying Redcliffe.
What does the Magister have against you?
He does not like to be reminded of what mages can become. He says all Tranquil must leave Redcliffe, but who would take us in?
This village has a history with mages, doesn't it? How long have the Tevinters been here?
Magister Alexius arrived at nightfall, 2 days after we retreated from the Temple of Sacred Ashes. He forced anyone without magic out of the castle, save those he required to serve him. Even the Arl was sent away.
Farewell, then.
One moment. You are a member of the Inquisition, are you not? I am an alchemist. You must require potions. If the Magister will not have me here, perhaps I can offer my services.
We would be delighted to have you working for the Inquisition.
Thank you. While one lives, it is good to believe there is still a use for one's talents.
Can you come to see?
I don't know.
You should talk to the Magister. You're the rightful heir to Redcliffe. In Tevinter, they would never take that away just because you're a mage.
After what I did, I'm not even sure I should be here.
It's not your fault. It could have happened to any of us.
That doesn't help. That's why people hate us. But just stop. You don't know what you're talking about.
Are you Connor?
You've heard the story, I guess. I can't believe King Alistair thought Redcliffe was the right place to send the mages. I mean, he grew up here. Did he think they would just forget what I did to them?
You're not in favor of the alliance with Tevinter.
Alliance? Is that what they're calling it? That Magister threw my uncle out into the street. He signed us into servitude. This is my home. Redcliffe, Ferelden. No matter what evils I've done, I would never have invited Tevinter here.
You were behind the siege of Redcliffe 10 years ago.
That's me. The boy with Redcliffe's blood on his hands.
Weren't you possessed? It wasn't you who did those things.
Wasn't it? I let the demon in. Sometimes when I dream, I remember what happened. I see the death and destruction, and it's me. It's all me.
Why isn't Al-Eamon in power anymore?
After the lands meet, he stayed in Denerim. I couldn't be his heir, not after what happened. So eventually he passed the title to Uncle Tegan.
How did you end up in the Mage Rebellion?
I was living in the Ferelden Tower when the circles dissolved. I voted against it, but at first it seemed all right. No one was summoning demons. They just wanted to oversee themselves. But then the Magister came, and it's wrong what they do in Tevinter. We are monsters. We need to be controlled. If it wasn't for me, every family in this village wouldn't be missing a son, a daughter, a spouse.
I need to be going.
Please, talk some sense into the Grand Enchanter. Selling out to the Imperium won't win us any friends. We have to find a way to make peace.
The Venatori have made the Oculara and are using them to search for something. Something like those old shards, presumably.
Every ocularum is made from the skull of a tranquil?
Every skull was... No, done thinking about it. Done.
I had wondered what had become of them when the mages rebelled. What a tragic waste.
I had wondered where they had gone. I should have looked harder.
You're from the Inquisition. I didn't think you'd still be here. Were you really looking to ally with us?
Is that so hard to believe?
Everyone blames us. The Templars left the Chantry too. That's worse, isn't it? They took an oath. Yet everyone calls it the Mage Rebellion. We're the ones they hate. What choice did we have? Stay and be slaves?
Sometimes to achieve the world one desires, one must take regrettable measures.
I hope you can do something. Tying ourselves to Tevinter. That can't be the right way to end this.
You don't approve of the Grand Enchanter's decision?
I was there when we voted to leave the Circle. She really seemed to care what we wanted. She was ready to rebel, but she wasn't going to unless it was the will of all mages. It's hard to believe she'd go behind our backs and sell us to the Magisters.
How long has Magister Alexius been here?
A day or two after. After the Conclave, he arrived. Come to save us from the wrath of the Templars, they said. but this doesn't feel like safety.
You seem young to be part of this.
I'm Lisas. I came into my magic when I was 9 years old. Templars came into the alienage and took me to the Circle. They didn't even let me say goodbye. It's not right. I studied hard. I passed my harrowing. I sing the chant. But I'll be locked up for the rest of my life.
Take care of yourself. There's something strange going on.
I never thought the Grand Enchanter would swear to a Magister.
What is it like when Templars nullify magic, Solas?
It is as though you are drawing upon the world around us. Mages draw forth the essence of the Fade, and use that essence to shape reality.
And our powers drive it back, making this world harder to affect?
In a manner of speaking. You reinforce reality so it is less mutable. The Fade has nowhere to gain a foothold, and the magic disperses.
No one has ever accused me of reinforcing reality before.
You are a seeker of truth.
They say Andraste sent you to save the world. If it'll help save lives and bring peace, I'll be the first to believe.
I don't have to worry about you falling at my feet in worship, then. That has been tiresome.
I believe we must each attend to our own lives to find salvation.
Are you working for the Mage Rebellion?
Mages are children of the Maker, no less than the rest of us. They struggle no less with questions of faith.
Does that mean you support their freedom?
Given a choice between the Circle and death, most mages willingly gave up some small freedoms for safety. But the pendulum swings, and now it seems any restraint is too much. I think they should have a chance to prove they deserve freedom.
I don't see any other priests in the village. Where is everybody?
The Magister had the others escorted out for their own safety, but I refused. He can throw me out if he wants. Until then, I tend to my flock.
What are your feelings on the mages working with Tevinter?
The Imperium burned Andraste. Since then, we have led 4 exalted marches against them. Yet in all those marches, they still acknowledged the Maker. Now I speak of him and the Magisters laugh. Something has happened, and I dread to learn what.
I will leave you to your duties.
Make us speed you, my child.
Hills and not much else. Demons, I suppose.